Welcome to the Love Does podcast. My name is Jody Luke, and I'm the executive director of Love Does. And today we get to film a really special episode because we're in San Quentin State Prison. And it has been Bob and the Love Does team and my greatest privilege to be able to come up here every other month or so for the past several years and get to know guys that are incarcerated and to hear their stories and to talk about things like hope and redemption and do you have purpose and what that looks like as they're serving out their time here, and then what it looks like as they get out of prison afterwards. Over 90% of all incarcerated men and women will be paroled at some point, and a large portion of them will reoffend. And so it seems like it would benefit all of us to think through, what do transitional programs look like, and what does rehabilitation look like, and what does it look like on the other side, and how can we make these men and women as successful as possible. And so we, again, have been coming up here for a number of years, and Bob teaches a Dream Big class. Bob is the founder of Love Does and the best-selling author of the book Love Does. And then Love Does comes along, and we have a couple programs that we do. We have an educational scholarship program that's offered to students in our class that can further their education to get a bachelor's or a master's degree. We have Love Does Christmas Operation program where students in our class can help direct Christmas gifts to some of their families right at Christmas time. And then we also have a Dream Big, Dream Tank grant program where, as students of our class are thinking through what their dream big is, they can have some resources then per this grant to help them further those ideas. And so we're super excited because today we have three guys that I have come to know over the past many years, and I have a deep amount of respect for who they've chosen to be in these last few years. And so I thought it would be great to hear from them a little bit. And first we're going to start with Tommy. Tommy was part of one of our first Dream Big classes several years ago. And in that time, a dream was sort of sparked. And tell us a little bit about, maybe a little bit about your story, and then kind of being a part of that class, and then kind of what precipitated after that.
Okay, yeah, again, my name is Tommy, and I was blessed enough to be in the first Dream Big class. However, COVID had hit us, and that was a very, very bad time for the incarcerated and the staff as well here in San Quentin. And you know, you kind of wanted to like just give up on stuff, but at the same time, you guys sent the correspondence course, and I finished the correspondence course, and it was all about not giving up on your dream. And so I continue with the dream and push forward with the losses that we went through here in San Quentin. And now, I mean, it's just an honor to be a part of Bob Goff's. I mean, just a little example, I got to read his first book, and hearing him speak on the stage, I never read a book, and I could hear Bob saying every word in that book. And I was like, this is cool. So that motivated me, and pure hope that you guys bring to the incarcerated in San Quentin. But to push forward and show that dreams are possible. Because at first, when Brandon and Redo Terrell brought me to that group, I was like, this is for people getting out. I'm sentenced to die in prison. And but it's okay. It's okay. You can still be an awesome person in prison, and big dreams you can accomplish them. And for an example, I ended up getting an ASL sign language class signed off, and with the Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, as an educator, we have graduated 62 incarcerated people. And so, yeah, that's 62 people that can talk to a community that nobody was talking to.
Because what was it like to be deaf and incarcerated?
I read the Armstrong law that they had going, and the incarcerated deaf would just walk circles. Nobody talked to them. There was no self-help. They would go to board, denied, because they didn't have the self-help. They have that here now, and there's still work to be done. However, they are becoming their authentic self. And what's awesome is they're teaching the sign language class today, and to see the chin up, shoulders. I'm involved with the hearing community, the community period. That's the most that's the true blessing. I mean, if you could see it, you'd be like, wow, God is here right now, for real.
So what does it mean to you to have been a part of something that's really impacting this community that before didn't have a lot of people making them feel like they were seen or valued, and now you have interpreters who are in every self-help class and helping them to translate what's happening. Of course, we just got done with our Dream Big class, and you were up and translating. You had a couple other people doing it as well, interpreting. And what does it mean to you to see that now?
To see that I made a choice and it's a positive ripple effect instead of a negative ripple effect. That's what's awesome. And it's not just incarcerated now. The officers are learning sign as well too. That's very rare, but it's also awesome as well. And to show that just that one little positive choice, and now we're going to have 40 incarcerated people and 40 staff learning American Sign Language together.
It's incredible.
That's amazing.
And that's all because of what you decided to put into place. That's pretty awesome. What do you hope for your class in the future? Of course, you got a grant this year from the Dream Tank program that's going to help with some supplies and that kind of thing. But what do you hope for this class, and what do you hope for you personally in these upcoming years?
For sure, it's helping the deaf community. However, this language on a level 4 maximum security brought all races together, diversity. It brings communities together. Learning is tightening our community. It's amazing how it works. I've seen it. Now imagine you're on a level 4, we're not talking to each other. We go in a classroom, Sergio sits here, I sit here, Jay sits there, and the brothers sit over here, and we come together and learn, because the officers didn't want us to have that, because that's how we were communicating in the hole back then. And so to see the positive come out of such a negative in the past, that's the best part. And to see my older brother Mike, see me sign today, it's like, why didn't you learn sign language like this when we were kids? And it's like, I can't wait for you to come home and you can interpret for me.
How cool for him to know that because of him, because your older brother's deaf, right? That planted the seed for you to have this big dream, and now what's come of it.
Absolutely.
We're so proud of you. We're so proud to know you. Thanks for sharing.
I appreciate you guys. Thanks for the opportunities. I mean, and rehabilitation and the rehabilitation center is not going to work without staff and the volunteers that come in, such as yourselves. It's amazing. It's just not happening like this anywhere else in the Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation.
Well, we often say that we're coming up to lead or to serve, and then we go home and realize that we were the student. It's just tremendous to see, again, what you all have chosen to do with your lives. It's incredibly inspiring, it's encouraging, and really to see faith and love in action is just wild. But Jay, we've known each other for a couple years, and it's been awesome to come up every couple months and to see this leapfrog in terms of who you are and who you want to be, and making incredible strides towards that. So share with us a little bit sort of your journey here at San Quentin, maybe your faith journey. What does that look like for you?
So I grew up in a pastor's family, right? My dad's a minister, right? And so, when you're born into something, right, you kind of don't question it, right? It's like, oh, this is all I know. We come here, we put on suits, we close our eyes and pray to someone that we can't see, and we eat some food after, and there's this guy in the sky that loves me, I guess, right? And so I fell off quick, I feel like, when I got to high school and college. And so coming to prison, I know it does sound like a little cliche, but it was really like my come to Jesus moment. When you're so desperate and you're in a place of like darkness and you're forced onto your knees, right? And you're being humbled, right? Without, any saying the matter, like this is where you're at and this is what has to happen. That was kind of like my wake up call. Like, okay, I can't keep doing this. I can't keep doing this to myself. I can't keep doing this to my family. So my faith journey in here has just been I mean, it's been slow, but it's been incredible. You know, I go to Proverbs, I go to Ecclesiastes a lot. You know, there's a verse in Proverbs that says, "Teach me to number my days so I may gain a heart of wisdom." And I've always, 2022 was like that reveal for me. Like, no, I can't keep living like I have no tomorrow. Like the world makes us believe, oh, let's just live for the night. Let's just live for right now, you know? And it's like, no, like nothing is promised, you know? And God reminds us that continuously throughout the word, right? Like you have limited time. It's like, what are you going to do with it? Is it going to be of lasting value? Is it going to be meaningful? So for me, it really inspired in me, like I have to do something with my life. It's like do or die. Either I'm going to do something or I'm going to just keep dying, and just keep dying until I eventually do die, you know? And so that's kind of a little bit of my faith journey, just realizing that, you know, all I ever needed was God, you know, and not all the other things I was chasing. So that was kind of like
Well,
my
it's been pretty
journey.
evident to see the transformation, truly, over the last couple of years. But education has always been, I think, a priority for you in your life. Describe what it meant to be able to apply for a scholarship within the Love Does scholarship program, and then what's happened since.
So it's funny you mentioned that because so culturally, like in my culture and in my family too, like yeah, education is number one. Like just study and do well. Like don't worry about money, don't worry about just we'll take care of it. Just study hard. But I was terrible in college. I was a college dropout, right? Academia I felt like was never for me. And so coming to San Quentin, right, and then applying for the scholarship and like actually getting it was like, how do I describe it? It's like you see everyone doing well, and then it's like you wonder like when will it be like my turn? You know, like when will it be my time to like show people like I can do something that I never thought was for me, and a bunch of other people around me never thought it was possible for me. So it felt empowering. I think that's the biggest thing for me. It really empowered me to be like, oh my goodness, like I can go forward, I can accomplish these things, you know. And because I never took it seriously prior to my incarceration. So it was like a step forward of like I have courage, I have strength, like through God's grace, like I can make forward this step, you know. So
And what's happened since?
and what's happened since is I have my bachelor's degree now in business and sociology. I just got my transcript for it a month or two ago, and the plan is to hopefully go to graduate school and maybe go for a master's somewhere, maybe in mental health. So that's what's happened since.
What's so cool is that when we see you all, we see the potential is just, I think it's almost like how God sees us. It's like, I see so much for you. Like we believe in you. The fact that you didn't think that there was people that just saw that in you. It was like we saw it so clearly right at the very beginning. And so then to see you see it in yourself and then be able to achieve, you're the first person in our program who actually has now been awarded the bachelor's. And so that's a really big deal. And it's hard because it's not just online. It's all of this correspondence back and forth, and you have to be so diligent. And so I don't know, I'm pretty sure, I don't know how you didn't do it while you were in college before, because you just absolutely killed it here. Killed it in the best of ways.
Thank you.
It's probably not a word I'm supposed to say here.
That's okay. No. Can I just make one final comment?
You can.
So I started this journey in December 2022, right? We met February of 2023, right? And so I remember I wrestled with that a lot. Like, do I do this? Like, is this for me? Is this even possible? And when I got my first class, it took me like 3-4 months just to finish one class, correspondence class, which is, I mean, it was really not that difficult. So I remember being like, this is not for me. And this is a lot of money too. You know, my parents already paid so much for lawyers and for bail and all these other things. And so meeting you guys was almost like a confirmation. Like that jump, that risk I took, like was all like, you know, worth it, and it paid off now. So I just want to also bring that to light too.
It's so awesome. It's so awesome to see your smiles. And I know that people who are listening to the podcast can't see it, but there's just a pride that comes with it in the most God-honoring way that, I mean, isn't it so evident as you're just looking at you guys, and it's just awesome. So Sergio, we've known each other probably the longest, and you've been a part of the leadership of our class really almost from the beginning. But would you share just a little bit about your story and your time here at San Quentin? And you're not the same person you are now than when you first arrived, right?
Right. Well, I'm glad you say that. So I don't see it that often because I live with myself, so I don't see areas where I grow or changes and stuff like that. So it's always a blessing when someone sees that in me and tells me about it. So yeah, I remember coming to the Bob Goff Dream Big workshop, and like Bob just like after meeting him, going through the class, like I'm sold, right? Um, like Tommy, I was same thing. I'm like, all right, Bob. I probably you remember asking me the question like, okay, I'm a lifer. Like I'm not getting out. How does this work? You know, for someone who's in prison, and I kind of figured that out like as we went on. You know, there's people they weren't here, and it was just simple things. I think mine was I wanted to reconnect with my kids. That was my big dream, right? And I remember me and Bob had a bet and actually an agreement. He said he'll write a letter to his sister, and I'll write a letter to my brother, and it's just going to be a one sentence card. And so he did it, and I did it, and they both turned out bad, you know, because his sister never answered him or whatever. My brother ended up being upset and got mad at my mother, and they didn't talk for 4 months and all kinds of other drama because he thought that she gave me his address and all that stuff. So it was a big mess. So it was like, all right, I did what you said, Bob, and look what happened, right?
Right. Because sometimes you experience setbacks in your
Exactly.
dreams, right? But then you have a choice. What do you do after that?
Right.
So,
So we're still there. We still don't talk to my brother,
Okay.
but other relationships have evolved, and just the fact that I'm involved with the Dream Big program has been a blessing because it's my dream is relationships, rebuilding, you know, redemption, things like that, and I've learned to do that through this program, and just connect with you guys and seeing all these classes one after another go through it and what it does for those people. It's just been so rewarding. And yeah, I'm part of the facilitation team, and I'm part of the leadership, but it's only as good as the people that I lead and work with. And so it's like I'm not really even doing much. I'm just getting to participate with awesome people, and I just get to be in the mix, and people are like saying like, man, thank you. I'm like, man, no, thank me. It's like how God uses us, right? We're not servants of His because we do stuff for God. It's what He does through us that makes us His servants. So it's a blessing, and it's just a privilege to be involved in that space. So my dream big is ongoing. So it's continuing to build with me and my daughter, and my sons will come next, and yeah, to be continued. So
yeah, I love that. Over the years, and maybe any of you can respond to this, there's been always some moments that the guests that we bring up, we walk away and we just go, wow. You just feel like it's just one of those wow moments. Can any of you think of a moment that you were here, that something happened that you just walked away and you're like, that was wow?
I mean, I mean, Bob. I mean, right? I mean, the Bob is like the human version of a golden retriever, right? You know, just like just never-ending surplus of energy and positivity and joy. And I mean, I can't say that. I mean, I think the paper planes. Remember the paper planes and how something about like when you launch something, sometimes it always doesn't land exactly where you want. I think it was something along the lines of that. That was really meaningful, you know, like maybe a lot of us, like, you know, we launch things in our lives, or we set our lives a certain way, and it didn't land quite properly on the tarmac, right? Exactly how we wanted to. So that was really meaningful. And but just in general, just Bob's, you know, just overall affect, his energy that he brings to the room. I mean, that's a life I want to live, you know, unapologetic. Just let me be rejoicing, right? Like the Bible says, rejoice and rejoice always, right? Just let me be full of joy and rejoice always, right? So
Go ahead, Sergio.
On the spot, right?
man, I got so many, right? In general, I'm just amazed on how you bring people in here, and we're looking forward to seeing whoever you guys bring. Like, man, I wonder who they're gonna bring. But it's the people who leave and they say that we changed their lives, and they go out there and the course of their lives have changed, and they do something brand new or something they weren't thinking of doing before. Those stories are amazing. Um, One of my favorite visits was Abby when she first came, and she was 16 years old, and Pastor Zach brought her in, and she sang with Lauren Daigle. And that was amazing in itself, right? But when we asked her to pray for the men in prison, it was like she was so anointed, and like every word was just so weighty and just spoke volumes that I was just like, girl, God is gonna, I don't know what you got planned for your life, but God has amazing plans for you. And
I love how you were encouraging her.
Yeah.
And that happens so often with everybody who comes in. It's really true. They go away changed. This is a moment that they actually remember for the rest of their life because of how you encourage them. Your reach is far beyond what happens here at this prison, which is a cool thing to know that is all happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, I've got a few too, but I'm just gonna name a couple. I mean, I remember when we first sat down in the class, he had us do something with our hand and our foot.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, this guy's crazy. And his Boston hat and the story that went with that. But the success stories that I've seen, I mean, just seeing Brandon parole and become who he is today, that's just success that's off the charts. I mean, you don't see that. I know Brandon. We got off the bus together here in San Quentin, and to see the change to the man he is today, the family man. I mean, praying with him today, handing out those hot dogs, it just rekindled that. I needed that, and that was awesome. But I think in the circles, the small circles, and when I'm interpreting, the outside guests, man, you look at me and you're like, no way is this guy an interpreter for the deaf, or is he doing and the stuff that I'm doing? So it's kind of like, it's cool to see people see this Tommy, and every once in a while I'll tell a couple of stories and they're like, we can't even see that, and that's what's awesome, because that was my big change, becoming who I am today.
And I think in part to do that, you have to be authentic.
Oh yeah.
You know, God can't change who you're pretending to be, so you have to be kind of who you really are.
Yeah.
And it's what takes everybody off guard, I think, when they come and they sit in these chairs across from you, because you're so authentic, all of you. And the way that you share, it's remarkable. And you talk pretty openly about shame and regret, but that you don't let it stop you there. You use that as fuel so often to change the story of your life to be that of service and generosity. And you can't help but be incredibly inspired when we leave. And of course, in so many cases, it's because of really God's changed all of your lives for the most part while you've been here. And I think of, this place is old. There's got these walls, these very physically very large, big walls, but we talk about it a lot where people both here and outside have a bunch of invisible walls that they put up in their lives from fear or uncertainty or trauma and whatever that is. And you all have done the hard work of tearing those walls down because of the programs and the stuff that you've done. And in a lot of ways, you're more free than most people I see on the soccer sidelines are walking in the streets. And you can't help but be changed by encountering you all. And in so many ways, it's God through you. So thank you for being just so open with your lives and for sharing it with us and for encouraging us too, because it's really us that leaves better people from knowing you. So we'll just keep going. But thanks for today, and thanks for being on the Love Does podcast.
Hey everybody, it's Bob Goff here. I've been part of this great caper called Love Does for quite a while. And I want to thank you for listening to this podcast. If you want to have some more information about Love Does, you can go to lovedoes.org. You could also email hello@lovedoes.org. Thanks for listening to the podcast. Here's the important part. Do something, whatever that is. Don't just agree with what you heard. What's your next courageous step? See you later.